The flashing red and blue lights lit up the quiet street as an elderly black woman sat calmly behind the wheel of her faded blue sedan. Her name was Ms. Loretta Green, 72 years old, retired schoolteacher, and beloved in her neighborhood. But tonight, none of that mattered. To the two young officers approaching her car, she was just another suspicious face in the wrong place. "Step out of the vehicle, ma'am," one of them ordered sharply. His voice carried authority, but not respect. Loretta's hands trembled slightly as she reached for her purse. "Did I do something wrong, officer?" she asked, her tone gentle, the kind of voice that once calmed frightened children. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you re-watching from. I love knowing who's listening." The taller officer, Reed, leaned closer to the window. "You matched a description," he snapped. "Now step out before things get serious." A description, that's all it took. No name, no proof. Just a story that started like too many others, with prejudice disguised as procedure. Loretta sighed softly, the kind of sigh that comes from a lifetime of being patient with ignorance. She slowly opened her door, her knees aching as she stepped into the cold night air. Streetlights flickered above, throwing long shadows across the cracked pavement. "Hands on the hood," Reed barked. The second officer, Miller, hesitated. She's old, man. Let's just check her ID." But Reed wasn't listening. He pressed harder, his voice dripping with arrogance. "You people always got excuses." The words hit harder than the winter chill. Loretta didn't resist. She stood still, her back straight, eyes fixed on the horizon where the night met the distant city lights. Inside her purse was everything they needed: her ID, her driver's license, and something else. Something that would change the entire situation in ways they could never imagine. Miller finally stepped forward. "Let me see her license," he muttered. He rummaged through her purse and froze. Reed. You might want to see this." Reed rolled his eyes, but when he looked down, his face went pale. Inside the worn leather wallet was a gold federal badge, stamped with the seal of the United States Department of Justice. Loretta turned her head slightly, her calm voice slicing through the silence. "That's right," she said. "I've been working with the DOJ's Civil Rights Division for over 25 years. You might have even read one of my reports on police discrimination." The air thickened. Reed stepped back, his mouth opening but no words coming out. Miller's eyes darted nervously between them. "Ma'am, we didn't know." Loretta finally faced them, her voice steady but firm. "That's the problem. You never know. You don't ask, you don't see, you assume." A small crowd had gathered now, neighbors watching from porches, filming on their phones. The entire scene had shifted. The power balance flipped in seconds. Loretta adjusted her scarf, every movement precise, dignified. "Reed, was it? I'll be needing both your badge numbers. You'll be hearing from Internal Affairs in the morning." Reed swallowed hard, nodding, the same hand that had grabbed his holster now trembling. Miller looked down, ashamed. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry." She studied him for a moment, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. "You're young," she said softly. "You still have time to learn. Use it." For the first time that night, silence didn't feel like fear. It felt like realization, the kind that lingers, deep and permanent. When she finally got back into her car, Loretta's hands were steady again. She started the engine, the headlights cutting through the dark street, but before she drove away, she looked at them one last time and said, "The uniform doesn't make you powerful. What you do in it does." Her words hung in the cold air long after she was gone. The next morning, the footage from that night went viral. Millions watched as an elderly black woman calmly dismantled an act of racism without anger. Only truth. Comment sections overflowed with admiration and outrage alike. "She didn't just defend herself," one person wrote. "She taught them a lesson the world needed to hear." Days later, both officers stood before the police review board. Reed was suspended, and Miller, the one who Dee tried to reason, requested reassignment to the Community Relations Division. He started visiting schools, sharing what he called the lesson from Ms. Green. Meanwhile, Loretta went on with her quiet life, her garden, her books, her long walks through the same neighborhood she refused to abandon. Sometimes people recognized her on the street and thanked her. She'd just smile and say, "I didn't do anything special. I just reminded them who we are." And in a world that so often confuses authority with righteousness, her calm defiance became a beacon, proof that dignity can be more powerful than rage, because respect isn't given by fear, it's earned by truth. And as the evening sun dipped over her porch, Miss Loretta Green rocked in her chair, the same chair her late husband built, whispering to herself, "They'll learn. Maybe not today, but they'll learn." If this story moved you, subscribe to Whispered Words, where every tale reminds us that courage doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply stands its ground.